Today, I'll be talking about our schedule. I will be talking about our year, how we divide our year into terms, how we complete these terms, what our weekly flow looks like, how we flow into day to day of school. I will also be talking about chores, and I will be talking about rest and break, how we break up the year, how we break up our school year so we have some rest and get that much deserved mind break that we all need, especially when homeschooling. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Andrea, and I am a homeschooling mama of an 8-year-old who is just completing second grade. We also follow Ambleside Online, and we are currently on year 2. So I will start this video by talking about when we start the year. And we usually start the year anywhere between early and mid-July. And the reason why I start in early to mid-July and not in August, in Hawaii, it's common to start the school year in August, at least most schools here, both private and public, resume or start a new school year in August. I know on the mainland, that's usually September, at least in New York. And so we start in early to mid-July because then we can build up a little buffer because it's still technically the summer, and also because we may need breaks, and we will need breaks. And so I just like to have that little buffer because I know as the school year progresses, I know we will be taking some time off for one reason or another. There are birthday parties, sometimes there are trips coming up, which seem to be the theme with our family. And I just like to add those few weeks there so we can be rested, that we'll be able to complete the school year, which comes to my next question. When do I finish the school year? And that is in May. I try to finish the school year anywhere from mid to late May. It all depends on what's going on. But that's ideally. Ideally, we would have some of May, all of June, some of July, and then we're back to school, which gives my daughter about 2 months of summer break. Now, this year, it's not going to happen exactly like that because I was trying to cram in as much as I could from the readings from Ambleside Online, and I kind of burnt out this past week. And now we're going to talk about taking mind breaks and rest and some time off from school. It becomes really easy since we homeschool, it becomes really easy to just every day we do school, it doesn't matter. You end up schooling year round. And, I realized that we had been doing school since Christmas. And then we came back from Brazil since after Christmas, since the New Year. And then we came back from Brazil in early March, and we didn't stop. We only stopped school for the 2 days we were traveling, basically, maybe 3 days. And the day before we traveled, the day we traveled, the day we arrived, and then we got right back into school. So we have been going pretty consistently, I would say pretty hard, since the new year, and we haven't had any break whatsoever. Now, what's happening is that I like to have breaks every 6 to 8 weeks. I know my limit is 8 weeks, and I went way beyond that, and therefore I burnt out. So for breaks, I will be very intentional about this. For the new school year, I created a weekly flow chart that I've been using this term 3 of this school year, and I'm really liking the model, and so I'm working on it, and I am updating it with some things that I'm learning that I would like to be there or not be there. And I separated the months into 4 weeks each. So every 8 weeks, me and my daughter will be taking a week off from school. So I figured that's a good time. 8 weeks, it's less than 2 months. What is our weekly flow? Our weekly flow is we do school 5 days a week. Now here, there's a caveat here. We follow Classical Conversations, which is a co-op that I believe most of you know of. and that's every Monday. We meet every Monday. So I do not have Monday as a regular school day for our curricula. And so for the 24 weeks out of the year that we go to classical conversations, I only school 4 days a week, which becomes a little challenging as far as completing everything that I need to complete, plus doing the arts, the crafts, the handicraft that we are expected to do, all the riches. It becomes challenging. And I will say that I do my best to do that, but sometimes we will end up doing some art or handicraft or something like that over the weekend because I don't have time during the week. Now we're off from classical conversations for the remaining of this 2025-2026 year. And so the rest of the school year, all of the summer, all the way up to August or September, we do not have classical conversations, which helps me have the 5 days a week schedule. Now, the core subjects we do 4 days a week, so it doesn't matter if we're doing classical conversations or not. We are doing math, language arts 4 times a week. The readings, how I break up the readings from Ambleside Online, we do 2 to 3 readings a day. If we are doing a 5-week schedule, that means five days a week schedule. That means that we can spread out more of the readings. If we're doing 4 days a week, then we really have to be on top of the readings because there's quite a few. Fridays end up being, when we have the 5 days a week, Fridays end up being a catch-up day. Maybe someone was sick, maybe we had something came up, life happens. We were able to do the class, the time was crammed, there was something happening. Wednesdays are busy days for us because there's piano lesson. She goes to a music academy here in town, and you know that it's early in the afternoon, and then our day is short, and she has out school class also on that same day, plus I need to school. So it's a lot. Wednesdays, sometimes I'm not able to do. This year, for example, I wasn't able sometimes to do the all about reading or all about spelling curricula that we've been using on Wednesdays, which would be days that I would be doing them. So it really all depends. And I know that next year things are going to change up a little bit, and I will make a video with our flow for the entire 2025, 2026, 2027. I will share my flow with you guys, and I will talk about it, and I'll talk about all the curricula that we will be using for 3rd grade or year 3 from following Ambleside Online. So yeah, Fridays end up being catch-up days, lighter days where if we are having a 5-day a week, we end up just doing more arts and crafts, more fun reads. I tend to leave the lighter reads for Friday, and if we have more time, we play a game. Definitely play a game on Friday. I am being more intentional about spending more one-on-one fun time with my daughter. I realize that life can become very monotonous and just more of the same, the triviality of life. Just wake up, eat, school, extracurricular activities, and we are not spending a lot of time having fun. And so I need to make some changes. I will be reevaluating our life this week. That will be off this coming week. We're taking the break, and I will be reevaluating how we're going to do things. But this week already, this past week, today's Saturday, after school, I made an effort to go down the orchard with my daughter and, look for birds, be more in nature, play on the playground or on the swings, and just spending more quality time together. Also making an effort to foster friendships from my daughter. So and she has some great friends, and they're always together, which is wonderful. But this Friday, we ended school early, and my daughter had a friend over all day. And then I had dance lesson with my husband, and they convinced me and the friend's mom to let Emma go with them. So Emma, her friends spent the whole day with us pretty much from 11:30 or so until 5:30, and then they went over there, and I didn't pick Emma up until 8:45. So it was a long day for all of us, but so much fun. So I want to make sure that we have more of that we have more friends over. My daughter goes to friends' houses weekly, and I want to be hosting more play dates here at our house, which I did. I was doing more of that before we left to Brazil, and now we're back into a routine. I'm gonna make sure that we also become the house where the friends come to. I really enjoy that for my daughter and for myself too. I love hosting. So how do our days flow? I took notes here in case I forgot what I wanted to talk about. So we start the day with a habit that I have been trying to foster, emphasis on trying, because trying is failing with success, which means sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So for next school year, I have added this very thing that I want, the habit that I want daily on the flow to be checked off, and that is meditation. To be able to pause and pay attention to our thoughts and know what's ours, what isn't, and just be in peace, in quiet, and be okay with that, doing nothing. So we've been using guided meditations. I have two Spotify guided meditations. They're only 5 minutes long, and my daughter likes both of them. So I'll make sure to link down in the description box for you guys if you want to check it out. So we've been on and off this whole school year trying to meditate for 5 minutes. This week we managed to do it twice, and that's usually how it goes. Some days we start right on it on school. Emma grabs her math and wants to get it over with. And sometimes I'm like, okay, let's pause here and let's meditate. So I have it as the first item on the daily work for third grade. So I'm excited about that, about being more consistent. And I will make sure that we start this consistency now. So since this next week we're off, the following week, as soon as we come back, the first thing we're gonna do, no matter what, we're gonna sit down and we're going to meditate. Now, I was thinking about that because I tried it out, doing it before or after the nature calendar. So I started doing the nature calendar on the spring equinox, and that was that nature calendar was inspired by Mary over One Schoolhouse channel. And I think it's such a great idea. Now, my daughter doesn't love drawing and working on the nature calendar like Mary's daughters do, but we have been consistent. Since we had CC up until this past week, we only did the calendar from Tuesday to Fridays, but starting as we come back from our break, we're going to do it from Monday through Friday. And she's already noticing how the days are getting longer, the sunrise is earlier, and the sunsets is later each day. So I figured this nature calendar would be a good observational tool. Now, it's not an amazing nature study tool, but at least we're watching the time of the sunrise, the time of sunset. We're paying attention to weather patterns, what the day looks like, and we're recording all of that. So she's observing and drawing what she's seeing. I find that to be an acceptable nature study for second grade. After we have done the meditation, nature study, nature calendar, we jump right into math, because math is the one thing that we want to get out of the way. My daughter being a not so mathy kid, and also being fresh-minded, that would be the ideal time to just get it over with, get it done. Well, there's lots of stamina, and then we do alternate between some riches and not so brainy subjects. So we'll do some fun reading, and then we'll do some language arts, and then we listen to some folk song or hymns, and then we do something else that's more brainy, and maybe we'll do, this year we're doing all about reading, all about spelling, so we'll do something of that nature, and then so on and so forth. We keep alternating between something more fun, lighter, exciting, or and then something that requires more mental capacity. When it comes to Ambleside Online, I have become such a follower of the system. I love it. I believe in what it can accomplish with consistency, and I've seen enough reviews and mothers talking about their kids and their graduates and what they're doing in life and how well they fared, and I am I am sold, and so I decided to be following the Ambleside Online as prescribed. So we read all the books. I will make a huge effort to follow all of the aspects of Ambleside as best as I can. Perfectly? No, probably not. I don't always complete the week of Ambleside in 1 week. Sometimes it spills over to the next. So we left one book. Chapters that are huge, like Parables from Nature, for example, which I love. My daughter doesn't appreciate it as much as I do, but sometimes she really gets into them and sometimes she doesn't, and it's okay. But last week we couldn't finish the reading because it was too long. And so I had to choose between doing the reading or having a play date for my daughter, a little bit longer play date, and we can always do the reading later. The books will always be there. The friends won't always be there and available. And they're traveling, in fact, for the next 3 weeks. So priorities, what's important? Books can always wait. That's kind of like my philosophy. Real life, we're all, look, I'm 40, I will be 45 years old this year, and I have loads of books, and I'm always reading and I'm always studying. So I am more and more realizing that there's no rush to teach everything desperately. And, I will be teaching all the things because I believe in the system, but I don't have to necessarily complete the week exactly that week. I'm just like learning that there's no such a hurry, no need. It's okay to drop a book if it becomes too much. Like in the beginning of Ambleside, I didn't do all of them. Now I'm realizing that there's value to all of them, but if I can't do it, if I need to drop it, I will gladly do so, and without any guilt or shame that I'm doing it. But so far, so good. So we'll just keep going with that. Now, it brings me to chores. Now, my daughter has had little chore lists since she was 2 years old. And I would put like, make your bed. And even though she couldn't really do a great job, she always had those responsibilities, pick up after herself, brush her teeth, brush her hair. And we worked with that. We've been working with this model of checklist since she was teeny, itty bitty. And now I have one of those digital calendars that I have all her chores, what she has to do. Now, the chores here, when I mention chores, there's no payment for them. Nobody pays me to cook dinner. Nobody pays me to homeschool. Nobody pays me to do anything. I have these chores, and that's just what I do. And my husband goes to work and he provides for the family and he takes care of the yard and he does so many things for our family. And he doesn't get paid other than for his work, which is a hard work. He has to pay with his efforts. So in our family, everybody contributes. We are one big unit, one community. We share space and we take care of the space. So I do not pay my daughter to keep her room clean, to clean her bathroom, to put away the dishes from the dishwasher. Those are expected. Now, what I was thinking about doing this year, this new school year, is that I will actually give her a chore that would be considered something extra. And every month she will tackle a different one. And once a week, she's going to have to do this extra thing on top of maintaining herself and keeping of her things. And then every year, I'll add an extra one. And so for the third grade, she'll be doing one chore a week on top of her daily things. And for fourth grade, she will be doing 2 things. For fifth grade, she'll be doing 3 things. So every day she gets to do a little something. And then this little something could be like dusting the living room or cleaning the baseboards and one area of the house, not the whole house, of course, because that would be too much work. But you know what I mean. Every week she'd like do one area of the house, and I divide the house. I actually have a map of the house and a cleaning. I used to follow the fly lady system. Anyways, I digress. So I'm thinking about doing that and actually adding a little bit of extra work for her. And maybe, I haven't decided yet. When she was 5, I started doing, I started giving her a little bit of money every week just for her to learn how to manage her money, learn how to spend, learn how to save. And I did that for a couple of years. And this last year, I kind of like fell off the wagon. I stopped doing that. Once I stopped doing financial literacy, which is interesting because we had to drop financial literacy when we started Singapore math because it was too much math for her. I stopped doing the allowances that I used to do just for money management. I never gave her, I used to give her $5 a week just for her to learn how to manage money, not because she was earning that to do something else. Completely unrelated to anything. It was just me giving her $5 so she could learn how to manage. Now I'm thinking maybe if I had extra chores, that maybe I could pay her weekly for that. And then that would, you know, but at the same time, I'm conflicted because I do all this cleaning and nobody pays me. You know, if somebody isn't helping me, I am the one doing. I'm vacuuming the couch. Allergies galore I have. I'm cleaning everything, you know, me or my husband, but mostly me, because I don't want to put that weight on my husband when he already works so much. And he helps a ton. He's like one of those good men. So I haven't decided yet if I will attach any payment to these extra chores. I probably shouldn't. So she doesn't grow up thinking that we get paid to do deep cleaning in our own house. We don't get paid. The deep cleaning needs to happen, and everybody needs to participate. So I'll think some more about that one. And I think that's it. That was a very long, chatty video. I don't know if that answered all the questions. I think they answered all the questions I would have for another mom. If you came all the way to the end, that means you really wanted to listen what I had to say. So I really ask you to please like this video, leave a comment, let me know if you do anything differently, if you got inspired by anything that I shared, or if you would recommend and suggest something that I mentioned, if you have a better way of doing it or a way that you think would be a best way of doing things. I would so appreciate if you would share with me. We're all learning together. I watch so many videos. If you ended up here, you're looking for answers. And we're all in this together. We're raising all these kids that in one way or another are going to be intertwined. They're going to meet out there in the world. Maybe they're going to work together. Maybe they're going to be friends. Maybe somebody's going to be somebody's boss. But we are all creating the future of humanity. And so if, as much as we can help one another, right? So it's good for everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.